everyone, welcome to Essy Cooks. In this video, I'm going to show you how to clean out the fridge and freezer. This has always been a part of my budget shopping and budget recommendations is shopping in your own house. You know, when you get to that point where you're just like, I have so much food in the fridge and freezer, let's use it up. You have some extras. You would be surprised how much you can make. All of this stuff was made using just stuff I already had in the house. If you want to skip ahead and you don't want to look at everything I currently have in the fridge, just check the chapters below. Things that I did buy, because I bought a couple things just to get me going this week, I'll be honest with you, but I did have so much already in the fridge and freezer that I want to use up. So the couple things that I did buy that I felt like I needed was Greek yogurt, some coconut and soy milk, one thing of blueberries, just because I like to have just a little fresh fruit. And this is old. I did buy one thing of arugula because I want to have some fresh greens. I know I have a lot of freezer friendly veggies, everything like that, but just for me, that's just going to make it easier for me to clear out my fridge and freezer, having a little bit of those fresh items in here. Like all this old from last week, some old kale. I've got these cherry tomatoes. I want to go through everything with you so you can see what I make with what I have. You can do this at home as well. You can, there I am, ciao. You can do it with anything that you have at home. So I have a little bit of leftover arugula I'm certainly going to be eating soon. Oh, another thing I bought was some dill because I'm going to games night tonight and I want to make a dip, a healthy dip. So I'm going to be doing that for sure. I've got 2 cucumbers left from my 3 cucumber pack. Usually I don't buy that because I'm like, I only need 1. Why am I buying 3? But I'm probably going to bring some of those to games night tonight as well with my dill pickle dip. And then I have this big bag of carrots. So I want to try making that viral carrot salad. I've had that on my mind. Those carrots have just been sitting there. And I have 1 bell pepper and an apple. These are old, but they're still good. That's the beauty of the crisper. I have some soup from my mother-in-law. So nice. I love when she gives me soup. So I'm going to be eating that for lunch today. It was some leftover rye toast that I have. If you have 2 slices of rye toast, it actually has like 7 grams of protein, which is cool. I've got some different cheeses in here. I have tofu puffs. I'm definitely wanting to make some bang bang tofu with that because I made bang bang tofu before just with regular tofu, but I think with the puffs it's going to be next level. I have a little bit of leftover beet hummus here. I have a roasted red pepper dip I bought for a picnic, but we had so much stuff I just didn't end up eating it. Those are my dog's treats. Will not be touching those. I've got a jar of homemade peanut butter here, which is cool if I want to make something. 1 overnight oat left. Gonna have to make more overnight oats for sure. I've got a couple strawberries. They do stay fresher like this in a jar like that. I have some extra firm tofu, 2 blocks, and ooh, I have to clean this out. 1 medium firm block of tofu as well. And of course, you know, I have all the condiments. Like, I wish I had an aesthetic looking condiment section, but I don't because I love condiments and I just pack them all in there. So yeah, I'll be making some different stuff there. Now let's take a look in the freezer. I am stocked on all of my smoothie seeds, hemp, chias, flax. I have 2 leftover homemade burger buns from my mother-in-law. I have coffee beans. I keep them in here to keep them fresh. I have some herbs, like some frozen just dill and more dill. Oh my goodness, apparently I love dill. And then in the freezer here, what a mess. Honestly, sorry guys, but I just want this to be a really realistic video. So if you have a freezer like this, please let me know. I'm not the only one. Obviously, I've attempted to organize it and the rest of my house is clean, but this is tough. Okay, so we have some more soup from my mother-in-law. We'll definitely be eating that. That's so good. She just dropped these off. Her soup goes so fast. I have some leftover little like pizza bread. I have some frozen peas. Those are going to be easy to use up. A little bit of naan. That's great. I have frozen blueberries. I have yeast packets. That might be an indication I should make some homemade bread. I'm thinking. Another soup from my mother-in-law. Amazing. I have 2 frozen pizzas. Try not to eat those this week, just because I'm trying to clean out the freezer and I know I will eat those. My husband and I will definitely eat those. These are my dog's Kongs, so yes, we do meal prep for the dog. Anytime if we have to leave her at home, we leave her with some of her kibble inside, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and those are just some of her crumbled up old treats on the top. And then we have got some leftover like fries here. I have strawberries, blueberries. I've got so much frozen fruit, it's great because I love smoothies. And I have some leftover homemade TVP, just vegetarian burger patties that I made that are high protein. So that's gonna go perfectly with the bun. Also, my in-laws gave me some cauliflower rice, so I'm definitely gonna wanna use that. Ginger, this is chopped up ginger for the smoothie. I like to prep that ahead. If you eat ginger, it's so handy to freeze it and have it already chopped. More frozen fruit. Broccoli sprouts. I got way too many broccoli sprouts as a gift, so I froze some of them, so I'm gonna have to add them in soups and things like that. What else do we have here? I've got some leftover spinach. I've got some edamame. Okay, I think we're gonna be able to eat pretty healthy with all the veg we have in the freezer here. Let's see what we've got in here. Cornstarch, always. I buy the huge thing because it's so good on tofu. And I have just a mixed spice blend, not blend, it's certainly not bland. It's a curry spice. I have a little bit of vegetable broth powder, so if I need that, that's great. I have a little bit of brown lentils. I've actually been crushing through those lately. I have lots of red lentils, which is great. I know I'll be making my red lentil curry for sure. Shelf. I'm really stocked right now. See, this is why I want to do this every once in a while. It's just kind of clean everything out. I've got this whole wheat couscous, which I love for meal prep. I have a tiny bit of brown rice. I have these mung beans. Mung beans are just not my favorite. I've been slowly trying to work through those, making mung bean soups and stuff. And then in behind, got a few more things here. This hot sauce stays in the cupboard. It doesn't go in the fridge. If you buy this one, trust me, keep it in the cupboard. I've got some arborio rice. I could make a risotto. I have some quinoa. I have molasses. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with molasses at this time of year. And I have some pasta noodles back here, which is great. And down here in the pantry, a little sad, but that's okay. We're going to use it up. I've got 1 can of coconut milk. That will be good for my curry. I need that. I've got 2 cans of tomato paste. I've got 1 can of just like crushed, diced tomatoes. I have a relish here. That could be good on the burgers for sure. I have some olives. I have some homemade jam from my mom or my dad, whoever made it. And sweet chili sauce, which is good because I wouldn't be able to make my bang bang tofu without that. Last but not least, this is kind of my pantry situation cupboard. I have chocolate chips, sugar, oat flour if I need it. I know I have oats as well, so I'm definitely gonna be making something with oats. And then in here, I just like to note that I have a lot of just nuts and seeds that I can snack on. Some of those dill pickles that I had. Now this is more than 1 cup. I'm gonna save a little bit because I know I like having chopped up pickles on my burgers, which we're gonna have later in the week, so they're already chopped, which I love that, love to prep ahead. I made my friend this Greek yogurt, delicious dill pickle dip, and I'm gonna make one with Greek yogurt and mayo, which I'm gonna show you up next. I'm gonna start with 1 cup of Greek yogurt. This is gonna make it high in protein. Now, if you want, you can use 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt and you don't have to use the mayo, but up to you. I find if this is a weekday snack, I want to use just 1.5 cups of Greek yogurt, but if I'm bringing it to an event like I'm doing this time, the flavor is better with 1/2 cup of mayo. So do whatever you like there. I'm gonna add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of pickle juice, onion powder, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. And pepper to taste. Mix that together. We're gonna add in some fresh dill, as much as you like, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons. I'm putting quite a bit in here because I love fresh dill. You can use dried dill as well, just use a lot less maybe. Start with 1 teaspoon, taste it, and see how that goes. And then we're gonna add in 1 cup of chopped dill pickles. That one doesn't really look nice. We're gonna add in 1 cup of chopped dill pickles, but save a few for the garnish. Mix that all together. To set in the fridge for a bit, or you can just transfer it into a serving dish, or you can just eat it like this out of the bowl. And this was a hit at games night. It got absolutely gobbled up, so I will definitely be making this again and putting it up on the blog. I'm just heating up that broccoli soup from the freezer, or the fridge, wherever I had it. And I'm gonna add in some of these frozen broccoli sprouts because I have to start using these up, so I'm gonna throw those right into the soup. I mean, broccoli sprouts, broccoli soup, just makes sense, right? And I made a little grilled cheese to go with it. Used the rest of the strawberries either as a snack and on some of our yogurt, and just using some of that peanut butter on the yogurt bowls as well. We make my no-bake healthy cookies. 1/4 cup of peanut butter, of milk. I'm using coconut milk here. Also, I have the pan on medium heat. These are really fast and easy to make. And 1/2 cups of oats. I'm using the large flake oats here just because that is what I have, and this is clean out the pantry, fridge, and freezer week. Usually I would use quick oats. Spoons of cocoa powder. Add a good mixy mix. We're not going to leave it on the stove for too long. Basically, we just kind of melt all of the ingredients together and lightly toast the oats. It takes hardly any time at all. I have a couple seeds left. I'm going to add those in the mix as well. It wasn't sticky. I forgot to add the maple syrup or honey to this, usually like 1/4 to 1/2 cup. This is going to help it stick, I think, too. Whoops. Sorry about that. Do not follow this recipe. I have this one on the blog and I've had so much success with it, so don't go by what I did here today in a rush. This did work out, thank goodness. By adding that maple syrup, I added some chocolate chips. They're not sticking together as well, but I'm going to put them in the freezer to help them hold their shape a little bit, but not bad. My burgers, you can see a couple little crispy bits there because I was busy doing something else. And I have these leftover vegan cheese slices, so I'm going to cook those up. Have a nice little cheeseburger. I'm just going to make a really simple salad, a little bit of olive oil, and just make the dressing right in the bowl. A little bit of vinegar. Oh, lots of vinegar. That's a raspberry one. It's so good. And then you pretty much don't need to add anything else but salt and pepper. And I'm going to add in some cucumbers that I chopped up. Some cherry tomatoes. I forgot to mix the dressing. That's okay. This is how I'm cooking when I'm normally not on camera and things are not as aesthetic. Okay, so I have my leftover mixed greens here. I'm gonna throw those right in. And I have some leftover arugula as well. So I don't need all of it, but just a handful for flavor. I'm just gonna toss that up. A couple of the dill pickles from earlier. It just comes out so good every time for just a really simple, easy, super fast salad. Okay, check that out. There's dinner, freezer friendly, cleaning out the fridge. Got that medium firm block of tofu from the fridge. I'm just gonna kind of pat it dry with a towel as much as I can here. And I'm gonna make a sort of like eggless egg salad situation, a tofu egg salad. Out of this. I haven't made it before, so we're going to see how it goes. Kind of like a vegan recipe, and I love medium firm tofu. So I'm just going to crumble this up into chunks, just like this. Medium firm just kind of has that little bit eggier texture, I guess. Just Gonna crumble that up. This is good for anybody who's maybe vegan or doesn't eat eggs, or I'm pretty sure tofu is cheaper than eggs because eggs are kind of pricey right now. Gonna get that all crumbled, leave a couple bigger pieces in there. And egg salad is definitely famous for having a bunch of mayo, so you can put however much you like in there. 2, 4, 6 tablespoons, whatever, however much you like. Now we're gonna need salt and pepper. I actually have black salt, which has a little bit more of that eggy flavor. If you don't have that, regular salt is gonna be totally fine. I'm gonna add a little turmeric for color, optional. And this is the black salt. It's kind of stinky, but I love it. You can add a little bit of nutritional yeast. Little good, nice flavor in there. Little couple of vitamins, B12, all that good stuff. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of Dijon. Whoa, choking on the salt. Just gonna add a tiny little bit of Dijon mustard in there for flavor. All right, now just gonna mix that together. Add in some green onions, but I don't have any, and it's clean out the fridge week, so I'm gonna throw in some red onion, because that's what I have, just for a little extra flavor. I have those chopped up dill pickles that I saved. I didn't use them all, so they're gonna be perfect in this, I think, and they're already chopped. That's why I love just chopping them ahead of time for situations like this. Give that a nice stir. Just isn't quite orange enough for my photo, I don't think, so a little more turmeric. All right, now time for the assembly. I used some rye bread here for a little bit of extra protein and fiber. We're gonna add the mixture on, add any lettuce that you like on there. This actually tasted a lot like egg salad, so if you like tofu and you like egg salad, I think you're gonna love this sandwich, and it was so easy to make and full of protein. Okay, I had this little bit of leftover sun-dried tomato pesto, so I'm gonna use that, a little bit of sun-dried tomato oil left over. Gonna use that up. I have a new box of pasta that was sitting in the back of the cupboard, and a few leftover cherry tomatoes, so I'm going to make a nice pasta with those. My husband's over here working on the garlic. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of that oil. I mean, I'm making a batch for like 4 to 6 servings, so a little generous on the oil. And then I've got about 4 cloves of garlic. I had a big head of garlic stashed away. Mince those right in. There's always extra in here. Just gonna throw in those cherry tomatoes. My tomatoes are cooking down perfectly. I'm going to steal a little bit of this pasta reserve water to add to the mixture later. Okay, I put the pasta water in here because I'm going to be using both of these just to get everything I can out of this jar. Not going to waste anything this week. Okay, I've got some fresh oregano. Needs to be trimmed anyway. All right, there's that oregano. I'm just gonna throw that in. Okay, pasta noodles in, pesto in. Okay, a little fresh ground pepper, salt to taste, little Parmigiano Reggiano. Bon appetito. Make it rain. This was so good, and we actually had full leftovers for another dinner and a small little snack. All right, just using up every morning pretty much some of the frozen ginger and fruit and seeds and everything in a smoothie. Eating up another one of the soups and those leftover pizza breads from the freezer, and I'm gonna throw some more of these frozen broccoli sprouts in. Still have so many of these. Right into the soup. And the long weekend is almost over, so it is time for meal prep. I'm going to make some overnight oats here. I'm making 4 of those, and the ingredients are up there, just so you can see how many. You divide all those ingredients between the 4 containers, stir them up, and those are ready to go. I love having these for a grab-and-go breakfast, and I'm just going to throw the lids on, throw those in the fridge. I'm going to add the chocolate chips later on, and I'm going to start working on that leftover kale that I had left behind. This is like 2 or 3 weeks old, but kale is amazing because it lasts so long in the fridge. Now here I am, you have to remove all the stems if you're preparing kale, chop it up finely, and then the final tip for kale that I would highly recommend if you want to be able to actually chew it and you want it to actually taste okay is to massage it with a little bit of olive oil. It just honestly makes the world of difference. Otherwise, I just find it's so chewy and so bitter, and I do like bitter, but this just helps. Now I've got those 2 blocks of extra firm tofu that I had left behind, and I'm going to be air frying these and breading them, so I'm cutting them into nice little bite-sized pieces for my meal prep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out my cornstarch, I'm going to put out my breadcrumbs, and I'm going to put out some milk as well. So I'm going to show you the details with all of that. So it's just a simple dry, wet, dry breading mixture. Going to toss the tofu in the cornstarch just until it's coated. Like, you don't need a lot, you can brush off a little extra if you need. Dunk it into the unflavored, unsweetened plant milk. Here I'm using soy milk. I find that's really good for this recipe. And then I have seasoned breadcrumbs. I like them to be pre-seasoned. It just saves time. It's easy. Everything look at how easy that is. You can make bigger, longer pieces if you don't want it to take as long, but I wanted small pieces for my salad, so that's the size I'm making. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with all the rest of the tofu. I'm going to have to do this in 2 batches. I'm going to cook these in the air fryer. If you want the oven instructions, let me know. I can put those down below. These are all breaded. You can see how nicely they are coated. Throw those in the air fryer at 390 degrees. If you need to preheat your air fryer, you can do that, but this one doesn't need any preheating. We're going to do 8 minutes total, so 4 minutes per side, or until the outsides are nice and golden brown. If you want them to get extra crispy, you can even put like a little bit of oil on the outside, but I don't find that it needs it. Right now, we're at the halfway point, and I'm just going to flip them all. Careful, you can use tongs to do this instead, and then we'll put them back in for another 4 minutes. Plus, I'm just going to heat up some vegan butter and some Frank's Red Hot buffalo sauce. So I didn't have a ton of vegan butter left, but I'm just using what I had left as well as the rest of my Frank's. This is the one here. I just love this sauce. It's so good. We are just going to toss them up in this sauce. This is one of my old original recipes that's been slightly updated, and it really needed a new picture, so I was able to get that today, which I'm so happy about. And look how good that turned out. These are so good on the salad too. All right, now just going to start divvying that up. I added that ranch onto the salad there. I have a really delicious tahini Caesar dressing recipe. If you want that, that would be so good on here too. And then I ran out of the Frank sauce for all my tofu, so I added some just barbecue sauce, which is so good on the outside of these breaded tofu pieces as well. And look how good those turned out. And these are just old takeaway containers, so like you don't have to have a fancy container or anything like that to do meal prep. You can just use whatever you have in the house. Look how good. Burger night, the last of the TVP burgers, a little salad, the cheese slices, and the leftover waffle fries. I'm making a red lentil curry. I'm going to use 1.5 cups of just my dried red lentils. This huge bag. Look how much I still have left. I have that can of tomatoes, but I don't want tomato chunks, so I'm actually going to blend it up. This is like probably double the tomato I would normally add, but I want to use it up. This is the onion that keeps on giving. I'm going to take a portion off that. This thing was huge, so I'm going to take a portion off that for the curry, and I have some garlic. I'm going to add that too. All right, I've got a large pot or Dutch oven on medium heat, a little bit of oil in the bottom there. Just using olive oil. And I have my onions, I'm gonna throw those right in, and some of my ginger that I had left over and already chopped up in the freezer. Perfect for this. I'm gonna cook that down for about 3 to 4 minutes. All right, now I'm gonna add in my garlic. Normally I would add more, but I'm getting a little shy, a little short on garlic. This is what I found in the cupboard, that butter chicken spice blend. I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of that for flavor, just nice and simple. I'm gonna toast those spices for 1 minute, and then I'll be quick ready with the tomatoes. Oh, it smells so good. Tomatoes in. Lentils in. I'm gonna add about half a cup of vegetable broth. Okay, that has been simmering for around 9 minutes. And now I'm gonna add in my veggies. I didn't add them earlier because I didn't want them to get soggy. So this is clean out the fridge. This is clean out the freezer. Like, you can use any veggies in a curry like this. So there's that red bell pepper that I found in the fridge. And I had a few leftover garden vegetables. So those are going in. A little bit of leftover spinach. A curry, a soup, or a stew is just honestly the perfect thing to use up any of your old freezer or fridge vegetables that aren't in perfect shape. And having a packet of red lentils in the cupboard is always the perfect vegetarian, healthy, fiber-packed accompaniment for all of those leftover veg. If you can believe it, I am still working on these broccoli sprouts one day at a time. I don't want to put too much in here because it could overpower, but just a few. And now I'm going to add in that can of coconut milk, the whole thing. And I'm going to cook, once I bring that to a boil, I'm going to reduce it back to a simmer and cook it for about another 5 minutes or so. I've been waiting so patiently for a little bit of coconut milk. Okay. In the meantime, I am going to cook up this cauliflower rice. This is going to be enough for a few days. And I'm going to serve it with some naan as well. I have a little bit of naan in the freezer. I'm going to add a little bit of oil, a little bit of garlic and onion powder, and some salt and pepper to the cauliflower rice just to give it a little flavor. And it looks like I'm gonna have a ton of leftovers as well, which is amazing. That's what I love about this. Quinoa rice, so basically it's just half rice and half quinoa. It just makes it healthier and it tastes so good because I love white rice, but quinoa is nice and healthy. Usually it's a 2-to-1 ratio, but we actually want a little bit less water with the quinoa rice. So I have, half a cup of quinoa, half a cup of basmati white rice, and 1 3/4 cups of water. Now it's important to note that whatever rice you're using, make sure it cooks in around the same time as the quinoa, so about 12 to 15 minutes. The Bang Bang sauce is super easy. It's just mayo, sriracha, and sweet chili sauce, and you just mix that together. It is so good on tofu. I just heated those tofu puffs in a pan. Another day, another side salad. And I'm just gonna add on the sauce, the Bang Bang sauce. So delicious. Okay, so that is it. We have been working for over a week to clear out the fridge and the freezer, and look at all the food we made. Isn't that so amazing? And you can do the same thing with your fridge and freezer at home. Just use the items that you have and you will be surprised with how much you can make. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And make sure to hit like and subscribe for more videos like this. Also make sure to check out some of my other budget videos. I have a bunch of budget meal prep, eating on a budget, a whole bunch of budget videos that you can check